Real chances.
Hi everyone, it's Norman Koshnick here, who's just having to turn some volume off there. We have a test match here today that I wasn't going to necessarily cover, but due to a lot of requests, I'm decided to go online and talk about this test match between a very upbeat England side and a team that really probably should be playing a lot better. They're 5 for 100 at lunch, namely England. England are 5 for 100 at lunch after Dean Elgar won the toss and elected to bat. And from that result, we have England and spot of bother with Lees, Crawley, Root, and Bairstow not getting a double figures. In fact, Lee was caught Vereen, bowled Rabada for 5. Crawley caught Markram, Ian Markram, bowled Rabada for 9. Pope's not at 51, who's batting particularly well. Pope was dismissed for 8, I believe it was. And then you have Bairstow out for a duck, and he looked quite despondent, as a matter of fact. And at the moment, we have a combination of Hi Praveen Ivan and Sai Darshan. How are you both? And we have both of those. We have Bairstow was out for a duck, but probably the most disappointing one was just before the lunch break here at Lords. England lost the wicket of Ben Stokes, and he was looking, I thought, pretty good, and unfortunately was out. Caught Peterson, I think, third slip by Bob Norjay for 20. He was starting to get his act together. Hello, Norman. How are you, Simon Awashi? How are you? Yeah, so effectively, Ollie Pope's not at 51. The England total is 5 for 100. Only 5 for 100 in a scoreline that doesn't flatter England or like some of Rabbitoh's top there. My eyes on cricket. I've got some interesting lollies here today too. Got something here from Milk Duds, American brand. It doesn't keep me awake. We've got something called, what's it called? It's called Squiggles as well. And then on top of that, we've got another funny brand here called Warheads Cubes. These are all American food. So, okay, let's see. Why no banter corn today? Because, well, first of all, it was George Prasaris' wife's birthday, so he couldn't make it. Just said he wasn't well. So we decided to give it a week's break. We can't do it every week. So that'll come on next week, Ash. ICC timetable release. What do you think about that? It's quite incredible. So amazing. There was a dismissal of Rabada ball jumping outside off stump. Beautiful delivery. It popped up very nicely, and it took the edge of the bat of Lees. Rabada looks in fine form. Pope certainly handled himself pretty well. 50 on there. He's only scored some 1,360 runs now, post Pope, but the batting average of 30.9. Long way to go, but he's certainly looking good. Norjay's got 13 wickets now after 49. So 49 wickets up to 13 matches, and Rabada's got 245 after 53. Quite incredible. Yeah, so this says England will not be chasing. Will be very interesting to see how England handle the test. You're right. What are you eating? I've just shown you before. There we are. Milk Duds. What are you eating, sir? I say video saying. I say a video. What do you say? A video saying. What are you saying? I know what you mean. So, a fast bowling attack of South Africa. Rabada, incredible form. 2 early wickets. We'll call it second clip. Aidan Markham took the wicket of Zach Crawley. Playing the ball, quarter second clip. So, Rabada, Nagidi didn't take any wickets, but he bowled well. Then on came a combination of Marco Jensen, who bowled beautiful left arm, and ultimately Unrich Norjay as well. Look, KKR appointed legendary Chandrakant Pandit as their head coach. He is currently a Ranji Trophy show for Madhya Pradesh. For the first time, he has a coach one, mate, and he's on good. Did you know what this is the reason why they don't pick on Haynes? No idea. You're here. Yeah, we're not a big fan of that with Buddy. We don't even really like saying "hey mate," even though "hey mate" is sort of Australian. Mates, in other languages like Sri Lanka, they say "machan." And Joe Root got out LBW to LBW to Jensen, or a ball that probably should missing stumps. Joe Root disappointingly. That was a good ball that really is swinging from Marco Jensen's hand. It swung a bit and cut off the seam and clipped him in the leg, and it was close enough to being out. It's hit middle, went wide of leg. Umpire's call. There you go. So 5 for 100. England are at lunch. I can see the likes of Sangakkara talking to Sean Pollock about the match. England 500. England would have liked to have bowled first. Of course, their team, I mean, both Stuart Broad and Anderson are in the side. They would have made quite a substantial amount of difference. When I come into Darwin, one day. I reckon Matthew Renshaw is really impressive in county. Didn't know why we didn't pick him. I guess we should have picked him. Are you looking forward to the India v Zimbabwe series? Be pretty Zardash. I am and I'm not. It's kind of a bit underwhelming playing Zimbabwe. And then we had Johnny Bairstow getting comprehensively bowled by Norgay there. A ball that really came in off and got him clean bowled. He smashed his middle stumps. So England, Bairstow's failed. Roots failed. Ben Stokes is relatively going to 20. The people who are the big clutch players, but the Ollie Pope, not at 51. Certainly, I must give some credit there. He's kept England total to a reasonable amount of 5 for 100. England, if they can etch out 200, that'd be long. Then last ball, Stokes before lunch. Oh, that was not the way they wanted to finish. They were looking okay. They were covering okay at 4 for 100, and then the fifth wicket fell. He's played a try on. He's outside his third slip. There he is. He's out. Last ball. So it's definitely South Africa's morning. There's no doubt about that. I struck early with Rabada. Had Alex Lees caught behind Lees at least. Would I cover the Agriculture? Of course I will. Of course, that's going to be very interesting, especially India, Pakistan. I think that South Africa will win the series because they. No, I don't know whether. I don't think. Okay, so I think that South Africa will win the series because then India totally out of the World Championship. Well, that's not. I don't know. I think England will come back. This is a bit of a bad start for England, isn't it? Well, they lost the early wickets there of some of their players. I don't know. I think it's a little bit. I'm going to invite some people, see if we can get some people here. I don't know. Tim Pearl, Boria, Mosaic. I think Baran wants to come on. I'll just see. But Ollie Pope seems to have handled himself very well indeed. Mosen can't probably sleep. Maz, Mosen Sheikh, Anderson Barty. Yes. All right. So, what do we have here? Ashwin. Yes. So it's a brilliant bowling attack will be difficult for Australia in the upcoming series. And Zemna Australia will get stuck in and back it. Don't worry. Australia can handle pace. Don't worry. That's not a problem. South Africa haven't lost last series in Australia for a decade. Thinks don't get too excited about South Africa. Good start here. Marco Jensen certainly has proven to be worthy of some note. But we'll just hang about there, guys. It's too early to say how good this will be. But lunch on day one. England, 5 for 100. We'll go through the scorecard one more time for those that may not know the score. Alex Lees, who hasn't been that impressive, caught Vereen, bowled Rabada for 5. First wicket to fall. And Alex Lees was then joined by Zach Crawley, who was caught marker at second slip, bowled Rabada for 9. So they wickets falling at 6 and 25. Ollie Pope suddenly has chance his luck, and he's done well. Got dropped a third slip there by Peterson, but difficult catch. He's not at 51, having hit 4 4s. Joe Root was unfortunately LBW to Jensen. He probably wasn't out, but anyway, give it out for 8. Johnny Best had a cork of a delivery to be well by Norgay for a duck after 5 balls. Ben Stokes caught Peterson the last ball before lunch for 20. It brings in Ben Folkes to join Ollie Pope. Alex Broadleach, Potts and Anderson to come. We'll see fireworks from Anderson, I'm sure, and Broad. Norman, should Australia test team instead of? We'll wait and see. It won't be for a little while, I think. This South African side is different. They are not. I was better show. They put on top oil a lot. They just need to handle it. So fast bowlers, make 4 runs, no chance for something. Oh, I kind of agree. I think South Africa had a good start. Long way to go. Long way to go. Look at people that subscribe. And look. We got Pakistan much watch. Live lunch 49. Yeah, all right. Do I like South Africa? No. No. What am I eating? I've told you at least before. Milk duds. Australian Pakistan should play a 4-test series. Well, I can't play them twice a year, but I reckon they should play 5 tests, really. How much money do you earn from YouTube? Enough. Cummins, Green, Stark, Hazelwood, Seaman will destroy them. Okay, let's see. Says the frictions help spins. The fast bowlers can't use friction for up. Yes, they can. Because when they deviate the ball to the same course now. Let's just hope. Let's just hope. Let's just hope. Yeah. With India at lunch, not India, sorry, England at lunch 5 for 100. They can get over 200. They could make a game of this, but they're going to be struggling. But South Africa have to face Broad Anderson on their home pitches, so wait and see. Now, in that bat, we have Curtly Ambrose, Andy Roberts, Winston Benjamin, and also Viv. That's Viv there. A lot more coming out too, actually. Do you do a home tour? I will not. No, not now. Pravan era. How's performance of the Aussies in the 100? Sams, Maxi, Zampa, Richardson, and Wade are in nice touch. I don't rate the 100. 100 is away from being. Yeah. So many people passing away this year. My mother, Shane Warne, Andrew Simons, a football coach, Paul Green, Olivia Newton-John. So many people. It's quite sad. I'm not really following the 100 that much, to be honest. I don't like the format. Okay, it's just something's missing for me there. I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm very sorry. It's not my cup of tea, if I'm being really honest. So I'm going to go through the actual series. So they're doing well. They are doing Basketball Hunting. I know they're doing well. I know. Early days, but yeah, they are doing well. Okay, so I look at the. If you go to my YouTube channel, you'll see the community button. Do you go to my YouTube channel, guys? Okay, do you go to my YouTube channel, guys? You should, because on that channel, it's. Let's have a look. Who's this? Okay, so David Graven is saying he might be able to join. Sam Hislop said they would win 3-2 series. I'll just wait and see, guys. So I wanted to go through the teams that are here today. I'm showing you a bit about Alan Donald, actually, who was a great bowler. But on my community page, I've actually posted a bit about the PSL. Then I've talked about a few things. I've talked about, well, let's go to the actual two sides. So England have persisted with Zach Crawley and Alex Lees, with Ollie Pope there at the moment, 51 on out at number 3. Root 4 got out for 8. PSO 5 got out for a duck. Ben Stokes got 20, just out the ball before lunch. With Ben Folkes, the keeper, who's the best quality keeper they've got. Broad Anderson in the bowling department with Leach and Potts in the bowling lineup as well. They've still got quite a few injuries. South Africa got Dean Elgar, captain as expected. Cyril Irwi, who's rated. Keegan Peterson, who's had a pretty good start. Aidan Markham, he's not too bad. Razi van der Dusen, not a big fan. Kyle Vereen, keeper, who can bat. Marco Jensen, certainly a standout. Then you got Kesha Maharaj, who was actually captaining a lot of the other formats. Rabada, Nagiri, and Unrich Norjay. They've got certainly a good bowling line, haven't they? So going a bit further down the track, Australia's forward tour program 2023-24, which is effectively next year. There's going to be a World Test Championship game. England versus Australia in 5 tests in June, July next year, which will be the Ashes, which I will be there for. September, we'll see South Africa versus Australia in 5 ODIs and 3 T20Is. And then September, India versus Australia in 3 ODIs. So October, November, ODI World Cup, India. And that must be the 50 over format. November, December, India versus Australia, 5 ODIs. And then December, January, Australia versus Pakistan. This is actually, it's not 23-24. What's this? Oh, this is next year. Australia versus Pakistan, 3 tests in Australia. That's next year, December. And then Australia versus West Indies again, playing 2 tests. February, March, New Zealand plays Australia in 2 test matches. So that's 23-24. Then we move to 24-25. The T20 World Cup, West Indies and the USA will be held in those locations. That'll be interesting. I wouldn't mind being there for that. Afghanistan versus Australia, then Ireland play Australia. England play Australia in 5 ODIs and the like. December, January, Australia play India in Australia. This is December 2024 through to January 25. Australia play India in 5 test matches. That'll be worth waiting for. I'll cover that, obviously. Marlon Slumberson is going to bat at number 4. Green is trained as 1 day player 5. Possibly. Okay. So, yeah, the 24-25 season, we'll see Australia play India in 5 test matches. That'll be huge. January, February, Australia. Sri Lanka will play Australia in 2 test matches in 2025. And then the ODI Championships held in Pakistan. 25-26, the World Test Championship again. Western Indies, Australia, South Africa, New Zealand, Australia. So Australia play India and ODIs and T20s. Then Australia play England Test Series in Australia, 25-26. 5 test matches, and then there's T20 World Cup in India. Yes, there's a few things going on there. There's too much cricket to imagine. Probably the most dramatic thing is that there'll be a 5 test series in Australia between India and Australia. So England are 5 for 100 at lunch on day 1. We have, of course, the likes of Lees, Crawley, Root, both Bairstow and then Ben Stokes are all out. So Ollie Pope left will be betting with Ben Folkes. And this will be a test of Ben Folkes because he needs to score some runs. No, just atomic in his do it. To me, Labuschagne a bit too much. Labuschagne, look, he's fallen away a little bit, if I'm being honest. I don't necessarily think that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with as much as you might think. So, okay. Showing Mike Atherton batting against Shaun Pollock. I guess it's indicative of the time, which was a few years ago. Any questions, guys? So can you make more your knowledgeable? Talk about my cricket knowledge. Well, I mean, my history goes back to Bradman era in terms of my knowledge. I'm very much aware of cricket right throughout the years, and I respect all eras. So just now showing Atherton running off the field there. So Steve Smith playing as an anchor in the ODI. Yeah, we'll wait and see whether he's going to have that long-term role. So, okay. So England versus South Africa. So it's always an interesting series, for sure. It certainly is an improvement with that. Doesn't matter whether it's the live lunch. Okay, so because of an anchor player, that's why I should have lost. I think you're talking too much about Steve Smith. Steve Smith is obviously his best days are behind him. So David Warner, Shane Warne's, well, he's all his time behind him because he's dead. He's long gone, the poor bugger. Long gone. Very sad for him, actually. The Shane Warne family, having lost their father at such a young age, in his 50s. 52, wasn't he? So Shaun Pollock's trying to surmise it. Look, England have faltered here on the first day at Lords, 5 for 100. We'll see how they really go. They are going to bat first and third, not last, so the different mindset. Good test match toss for Dean Elgar to win, for sure. Again, the best opportunity with these 4 fast bowlers, namely Norgay, obviously Ngidi, well, got the likes of Rabada and Marco Jansen. And they've got even the spinner Maharaj there as well as a backup, so they'll be pretty happy with the way they go. Yeah, Bairstow and Root out against them. Yeah, Bairstow and Root, I mean, you can't knock them. They're both quality players. We have to remember that they are quality players. You can't knock them. Both quality players. We have to remember that they are quality players. You can't knock them. Both quality players. Lots of options. Travis Headhunk, McDermott, Max Bryant, Jake Weatherall, Sam Hesley. Okay, just wait and see. I need to be careful about rolling this glass, actually. How did it make so? Oh, that's better. That's better. I wonder if I can move a few things back. So England would be very unhappy with this start to the series, especially at Lords. This bloody thing pops away. To wait and just see how Dean Elgert seems to be a pretty good captain. Murray's did well on the short format, but yeah, well, wait and see how he goes in the long form. Rabada, Lees went very cheaply, and then Crawley got caught quite easily as well on 37, and Joe Root got a few short balls there. And then he got out LBW to Jensen at 12.03 when Best had a chat to him as he walked out, get some tips. Didn't help me, and lasted 5 balls. Got comprehensively bowled over Norgay. That was the 4th wicket at 12.19. And then came Stokes in for a period with Pope. Pope's pretty good. He's 51 now. Sam has, you forgot Tim David. Tim David, no one's forgot Tim David. The fact is, Tim David is still yet to be given any real, selection at the highest level. He hasn't been able to get to that level. So it's a bit hard to say that he's, any certainty at the moment, I'm afraid. It's too early to say. He's still not in the 11. You've got to remember, guys, please don't forget that Tim David's not in any contention because he's not even in the squad yet. All due respect, he needs to be given that way of proving. So David Gravely wants to come on. Just try and pull him on hand. Let's go to the email process. Can we get this email paste? What is posting? Let's just see if we can get this post. Copy. So David Gravely the post. We'll see if we can. I heard the ding that just then. What was that? Chris Vernon's showing me a photograph. He's actually at Lords. So Chris Vernon's at Lords. He's watching live. I built the straw West Indies cricket. It probably did. Let's get this up here. Well, we haven't returned yet from the match as such. And the Baz ball or bash ball, whatever you want to call it, doesn't seem to have quite worked. Okay. So read comment. What did you write, Ashwin? Mayhem. Stop criticizing up here. What did you say? Mayhem. Where is it? What comment are you talking about? Which comment is Ashwin? What are you talking about? Okay, we've got David. How are you, David?
Norman, long time no speak.
Yes, I'm here watching what is quite an impressive South African bowling attack.
Yeah, they're. I don't know.
Or more so bad batting.
It's the way the game's played, Norman. Now, so right. Yeah, I've been really impressed with South Africa ever since they played India. I think they've really got their act together, both with the white ball and the red ball. Their transition to a new team has been very rapid. They must have got a couple of new guys batting wise. Be interesting to see how they go. The inexperienced opener and the inexperienced wicket keeper, and then the guy who's about 12 foot tall is batting at 7, so, or even higher than that. Actually, I think he's batting at 6. So
if you were Ben Stokes, would you bowl first?
Oh yeah, he would have bowled. Yeah. Suits the way they play. They're in a win-win situation. Whatever the end results of the 3 innings, they will chase it down, and they've succeeded chasing it down. So they wouldn't be worried about batting 4th, and Lords is a good place to bat 4th because the wickets don't deteriorate that much. So yeah, it was definitely win-win for them. So this is a slightly different way round. Expose some, familiar frailties about batting first in terms of the top of the order, but that's worldwide plight, really. So, and they just have a confidence about them, particularly red ball cricket. This is not necessarily the case white ball. That whatever scenario, whatever the hole they find themselves in, they are confident of getting themselves out of it. So. Even if they end up getting 250, which they could easily do, then they would bank themselves to bowl South Africa out for less than that, or concede a small lead. They're playing with confidence, which that confidence has momentarily disappeared in their white ball play. But that's just sport, isn't it? Really? So.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, this game is far from over. Even though England are 5 for 100, it's far from over. They're going back out now. I can see. I mean, look, Ollie Pope's done very well. He got 51. He's been very aggressive, played some pretty enterprising cut shots.
Yeah, Lords is always a difficult place to bowl because of the slope, Norman. So, bowling from the nursery end, sometimes you give a little bit of room outside the off stump. If I was bowling to Ollie Pope, I'd always have I'm not saying he is like Sehwag, but he likes to stay on one side of the ball. So he's quite keen to play the uppercut. So having a third man is not necessarily a defensive move. I think it's actually quite an attacking move because actually
Absolutely.
he actually becomes a catcher, if anything. So
well, Ben Foakes is in now. This is a big test for Ben Foakes in England with a bit of trouble at 5 for 100. Ben Stokes' recovery innings could be quite significant, actually.
Well, it will be because of the way our domestic game has been structured. It's if you are sort of not playing white ball cricket, as Ben hasn't been, as far as I can recollect, then they haven't played a lot of cricket. So that's because he wouldn't have been in the 100 ball games. Even Joe Root played a couple of matches before he came in. So yeah, but I really like Ben Foakes as a person, as a player. He was an under-19 player when he tragically had just lost his dad suddenly, and he's and he's had some bizarre injuries, like slipping over in the dressing room and having a serious hamstring injury. So, I wish him well because I think he's. I think he is the best wicketkeeper, sort of in a bunch of a lot of very good keepers. So, at one stage they could play about 3 or 4 of them. So, yeah. So, I think you're right, Norman. There's a long way to run in this, but the South Africans will be, really happy about the way they've performed. But I'm sure Boucher would have kept their feet on the ground. He's played at Lords before, so. and I'm sure
So
the 40-year-old will knock a few over, so it's not a problem.
has the 100 improved this time round, do you think? Is it more of an interest to people?
You never know, Norman. You can be very cynical and say, the people who bombard social media about the 100 are the people who do not like it. Now, how many people out there really do? There have been some enormous crowds, particularly at the Oval, and actually there was a really big crowd at Cardiff, which was unusual because unfortunately the Welsh Fire have not performed very well. Birmingham is always chock-a-block because they just play, they've got some serious players in their team like Livingston and Moeen Ali, so, and Will Smeed. But it's just nice to see some young guys who've played under 19 cricket, do really well, get hundreds. Both Will Jacks, Will Smeed, both been under 19 players in the last few years. So I think that they have not a dilemma. If they've never asked me for my advice, but if hypothetically if they did, I would tell them to keep trying, if possible, to play red ball cricket as well, because I think to continue to keep playing whatever form it is, it gets a rhythm. If you stop, start, and as Jason Roy, and it's Jason Roy's situation will only be temporary. It's difficult, You're playing 2020 cricket. If you're not in the best of form, you can't go out there and block just for your own benefit. So you've got to keep playing the same way. And it's hard, it's you're in the public eye and everything like that, and he's had a very tortuous sort of session, and one time he's trying to not laugh it off because that would be a discredit to his team.
Ollie Pope's going. He's just another ball outside off. He's doing very well.
Yeah.
Just a quick point. Now we're talking about the 100. Now we've got this major dilemma in Australia with the UAE, let's call it IPL, happening in January, our BBL, and also the South African Premier League, all happening at the same time in January. It's causing almighty tension. Australia is beginning to really worry because of this onset of an IPL contract being for 12 months, and then they play in South Africa, UAE, Caribbean, etc. It's becoming a real issue.
Sounds as if it might develop into something like as afflicting golf at present, Norman.
Exactly.
Where the best players are being taken out to do something different. It's a worry. I always thought, and the IPL is a product that I watch the 100 ball game or whatever, but I've always felt that it casts a bit of a shadow over Test match cricket, or put Test match cricket in a position where they're going to have to match the earning potential for the players, because the players want to maximise their earnings. They realise their career they're only there once, which seems to be the argument of the LIV in terms of golf. In the end, I can remember. I'm old enough to remember it, but the chaos that was caused by Packer in domestic cricket across the world. There were dressing rooms in the UK where people didn't speak to other people, and I'm sure that happened in the West Indies, happened in Australia. There'll come a time they're going to have to, hammer out a solution and allow the various types of cricket to be played.
But what I'm getting
carried away,
timing that all three of those tournaments are at almost exactly the same time. There's a deliberate attempt to cause some grief with the BBL, and Cricket Australia, who virtually owns outright the BBL, may be under pressure to consider whether they will entertain an IPL ownership into the structure. Something to give a bit of leadway to the others, because they may just swash us. It's very interesting.
Oh yeah, there's lots going on in the world, Norman, even outside cricket, which is causing a lot of stress to a lot of households. So,
God, yeah.
This, in my eyes, way down the list. So,
that's true. That's true. I mean,
conventional cricket will continue.
And
the one thing I'm always amazed by, and I'm not sure whether the Indian players are on different fuel than anybody else, they just seem to be playing all year round, wherever it is.
Oh, it's too much.
I know that they
Too much.
juggle their resources in terms of people having a rest and whatever, but I think the TV companies will realise that, and they realise, and they point that out to whoever's sponsoring these competitions. You dilute the product, and nobody comes and watches. That is something they really hate. So, I think one of the greatest example for me, what just as a sports spectator, watching, for instance, the Six Nations in the UK, which is the rugby tournament between the home nations, France and Italy. It is always a great success because it's a rare commodity. They're not playing every week. These are just a limited number of matches. And there's some suggestion of suddenly combining Australia, the All Blacks, South Africa. It would just dilute it. That the availability to watch sides 12 months a year in the end means that people will they'll watch it for a bit, but they'll go and do something else. I played in an era where the coverage to watch international teams was limited. So then when the tourists came to the UK, it was an event. You would be able to go and see the best players in the world live. Now, I'm not saying resort back to that, but the point is of diluting things can make it just loses its value, really, more than anything else. So they would have to be very careful. You asked me a question about the 100. The 100 has been a better product because, one, it's not in a COVID era. There's crowds, and I think that they have to. I think for it to prosper moving forward, is that they have to be the same way as the Big Bash was in terms of family tickets, keeping the ticket price as low as possible, because this is a luxury now. So when you're talking about households who haven't got enough money to pay for fuel and whatever, and it's a real crisis in the UK at present. So,
Sure.
And they have to be very careful where they pitch it. So that I haven't seen a scan of the whole ground. I get the feeling it's not a complete sellout, this test match. There's quite lots of gaps around, but it tends to be.
Looking at them now, there are gaps. Yeah.
Wednesday's probably not a great start day, and it should improve. I don't know what the forecast is. I suspect I've been at Loughborough, which is north of London, and we've had some seriously heavy rain, and I think it's heading in that direction. So we see how it pans out. But I think the South Africans have put a marker down, say actually, we're here to play. Looks like the spirit within the team when they're taking wickets has been really high. But it'd be interesting to see how they bat really against.
Yeah, that's going to be the true test.
And
it's 510 now. They've added a further 10 runs with Pope on 56 and Folkes on 5. Rabada looks pretty strong. Rabada his stats are amazing. He's already taken 245 test wickets in the hell of a.
Well, he's been leading their attack as a young man for many years, really. So,
but he's gone unnoticed tally-wise, I would argue. It's sort of crept upon us now. And he's got 245 wickets. He's heading towards 400 plus if he keeps going this way for sure.
Yeah.
He's bowling the fastest. Well, Norjay seems to be the fastest. He's got 94.4 miles per hour. That's pretty fast.
No, he can bowl quick. Very good.
Now, just quickly, there's a question here from Sam Hislett about David Sir. What's your thoughts on Tom Haines not being selected ahead of Crawley?
Well, Sam obviously must be a Sussex member, I guess. I would imagine. Tom Haines, I know really well. He was involved with the under-19s. I think he's done really well for Sussex. They for probably financial reasons, but I've never seen it written in paper, had to get rid of a number of senior players. So Tom went from a situation of just starting his career, suddenly found himself captain and being one of the major batters. Pujara actually playing for them, I think, would be a great comfort for him because he's just a very calm player. He gets on with his business. So Yeah, I just really think opening the bat in England is a difficult thing, and I think Crawley can play, but I'm sure that well, Robert Key and those involved in the selection will not be throwing casting in the net. Tom Haynes will be on a short list of possible replacements if they ever get to that point. But I think they are trying to stand by their players as much as they can.
It's interesting because I mean we can't take this early form as being indicative because England have played so well this summer. It's going to be interesting because they follow this, don't they, with a tour of Pakistan? Is that right?
I think so. Yeah, I think there's. I think Norman. Somebody will correct me, but I think it's a series of white ball games leading into the T20 tournament in
Right.
October, and I think they can then go back to Pakistan to play a Test series. So
Okay. But I mean, I'm just considering that England have played New Zealand earlier on. They had the one off against India. They're playing South Africa, and then they're playing against Pakistan. It's quite a action-packed year, isn't it?
but they haven't played for a while, Mike.
No, that's true.
Red ball cricket. So um, yeah, and I think the way that I think world squads around the world are managing or separating their red ball and white ball teams as much as they can, and trying to manage the blokes who play both forms, and there are lots of them who do that. So um, it was a really strange concept for England to be playing red ball cricket and white ball cricket at the same time.
Yeah,
That's never happened before. So, but that's just the way of the world, isn't it? So,
absolutely. Oh, but look, there's never a dull day when you've got a Test match at Lords. That's a magnificent scene, no matter what the
oh, it
stage.
is. And it's
Why aren't you there today? Why aren't you at Lords today?
I am which is where I've got to go soon. We are the under-19s are well. There's one side playing as the under-19s against Ireland A, and there's another team playing against Invitational 11 playing against Sri Lanka under-19s.
Oh, right.
So you just happened to catch me in a rain break, Norman. So I shall have to go back and watch my little charges, or not little, but young
Well, I'm
charges.
glad you came on. It's good to see you, David. We often get comments about you in a very favourable light. I had a chat the other day with Barry Knight and also with Adam off air, and they're going to come back. They've had all live things going on in their lives. We're going to regain the group very soon. We've also got the Indian contingent coming out here for the World Cup, which will be interesting as well. But
Yeah, good.
yes.
So if you're doing this at lunchtime, at least I know what time it is. Just
Lunchtime is probably the
link
best
as,
time.
link as an email, and I'll try and get on. But it's obviously quite
All right,
busy at the present with under-19 internationals and whatever. But we'll see where we're at.
Good. I'll do it lunchtime. I'll send you the link. Okay.
Norman, great to see you. I'll give my best
Thank
to
you, David.
other participants, and then we'll catch up soon.
Thank you, David.
See you later. Bye.
Thank you very much. It's good to have David Graveney pop in like that. It's great. I mean, we'll have this session every day at lunchtime and during the test, which is just finished, and we'll go a bit over time as we have. But it's a good session to have. I can see Sam Heslett's written up a side here. Who have you written up? And you asked him for his point of view. Look, you're all surmising on an Australian side here. The squad of Australians of McDermott, Philippe, Marsh, Inglis, Stoinis, Tim David, Ash Nagard, Joe Richardson, Nathan Ellis, Adam Zampa, Tanvir Singh. That's a very good squad. It's devoid of all the blokes that are going there now, but yeah, that's pretty good. I can appreciate that. So Ben Folkes has just clipped the ball off the bat and has gone for 4. Interesting shot, to say the least. Let's have a look here. So England are scratching around. They're 5 for 114, which they need to scratch around. Certainly, there's not a lot more they can do at this point in time. There we have it. So the lunchtime crowd of 161. That's a good little crowd. We've got England at 5. They're showing the wickets one more time. Ball that absolutely careered up off Lees. It was a brute of a ball that got him, and then a very good ball that got Crawley as well. First 2 wickets to fall. Can Alex Hayes plays T20 World Cup? We're not sure whether he can. Your predictions on India versus Pakistan? Well, we're talking, Abhijit Anand, are we talking about the Asia Cup to start with, or the Asia Cup has been played? Yeah, I tend to think India will win that, but it'll be interesting. But Pakistan are all conquering. They're going to be there with a big chance. Don't you worry. Big chance. England 5 for 114. Wickets falling of Lees at 6, Crawley at 25, Root at 42, Bairstow at 55. So 4 for 55. Recovered some up. Then they lost their 5th wicket at Ben Stokes and the score of 100. And there is a ball's gone to ground. It looks like Ben Stokes. Olga seems to be a little bit strained with a few of the decisions there. Things are going pretty well. From Rabada's taken 2 wickets for 34. Nagidi, none for 12 off 5. Jansen, 1 for 18 off 6. And Norgay, 2 for 43. Somewhat more expensive after his 8 overs. So, but here comes Rabada in again. That was a very powerful shot by Pope. Pope's raced on the 60, maybe 61 now. It's an impressive effort from Pope, and a score. He's got 61 out of the 116 that have been scored. So there you go. All right. England, by no means out of the woods yet, but they're playing admirably enough. Do you know KSL? KSL. What's KSL? What's KSL? What's KSL? Is KSI? Tell me, and Aswan, who do you know KSI? Who's KSI? Kumar Sangakkara or what? Kartik, big name. Morley Kartik. Is he named KSI? I didn't think he was. Oh, guys, I'm first have it back. All right, so we need to consider KSI as an English YouTuber. No, I don't know. Which team win the AK's Cup? Oh, I think India in the most affordable box seat, but Pakistan will do them some grief, I'm pretty sure. Okay. Rabada coming into Pope, who's now trying to scratch one. He's 61 not out. Folks is 6 not out. Tell me some Aussie slang. Fair crack of the whip. Fair income. On ya. There you go. Some words there. There you go. On 5116. Where is your house? I will come and visit. In Sydney, Coogee Beach, in Coogee. Come and visit. Ashwin, come and tell me you're coming. I'm just going to get myself a bit of a burst of something. No joke. A little expensive, but buying well. And this one. Oh. I'm just checking. I said already England, India. Last 6 minutes, 200 views. Ben Folks and, of course, Ollie Pope survived pretty well. You know, both probably sort of on 6, which is not a great score, but look, Andrew Strauss and Mark Butcher there are competent. I still think 200 plus runs could be a fair total. Oh my God. Ben Folks has just been bowled. Neck and crop. One order. And the 6-1-1-6. What do you mean? Norzay's just taken the wicket of Ben Folks. Bowled Norzay for 6. England was 6-1-16. I think Stuart Broad's coming in now. England would not be happy with this. Not be happy at all. 6-1-16. This is awful. Now, eventually, Stuart Broad's coming out the middle. Otherwise, they're showing the interior of the Lord's dressing room. I've eaten dinner there. No one tell me how to get a job as a cricket reporter like you. Start doing your own YouTube and I'll get a bit of a presence and off you go. So there you go. So Stuart Broad's going out there. Yeah, I think we're in a situation where Stuart Broad's wouldn't be happy coming out 7 innings at all. Absolutely bloody awful, actually. All right, guys, we might call it quits there. So every day during lunchtime, which is just on about 40 minutes of lunch, been a bit beyond, we'll have a bit of a chat. All right, so stay tuned. David Graveney will join, others will join as well. My new prediction, yet again, is India to beat Pakistan. That's what you have to say. Stuart Broad's had 157 matches, 3,473 runs. He scored a century, though, unlike Russian Dickwell that hasn't scored a century. There we have it. Stuart Broad will be under immense pressure. He's facing from the members' end. Well, guys, we will talk tomorrow, okay? Lunchtime, each day of the week. Don't grab any others on. See you later, guys. Take it easy. We'll see you soon.